This I feel like is the most underrated tip when it comes to weight loss. I was on this like a bee on honey this past summer and I just kept dropping body fat. I'm passionate about this one because I swear this is something that like changed the game. What's up? Welcome back to my channel. I feel like everybody at some point in their life struggles with trying to drop body fat. So I wanted to share with you guys how I did it completely intuitively without tracking any calories. So hopefully you guys can do it too and see results. I completely understand that tracking just is not for everybody. It can be very tedious to track calories. Sometimes it just doesn't fit into your lifestyle and it's just like, some people just don't have time for that. And I completely understand. I also know that it's really not good for some people's mental health. By doing all these things that I'm about to share with you, I lost in total anywhere around like 15 pounds, plus or minus like 3, I would say. And before we get started, in case you're like completely lost with how weight loss even works, I just wanted to give you a quick 101. So basically, in order to lose weight, whether that's body fat, muscle, anything, you need to be in a caloric deficit, meaning that you need to be consuming less calories than you are burning throughout a given day. And you don't only burn calories when you're doing a workout or when you're doing some sort of physical activity. Your body is burning calories all throughout the day, even when you're just sitting, laying down, even if you were just sleeping, your body is still burning calories in order to function. You can create this caloric deficit a couple different ways. You can either do it by manipulating your intake of food, or you could do that by manipulating your energy expenditure, basically how much you're moving, how much you're exercising, etc. So that brings me into my first point, which is that I slowly just simply started to decrease the amount of calories that I was consuming. Now the catch with this is that I would eat similarly day in and day out anyway, so it made this easier for me to mentally gauge that I was eating less without actually needing to track my food to make sure I was eating less, if that makes sense. Let me just try to clarify this. Basically what I would do is I would systematically drop my calories. Now, this is so hard to explain. Oh my God. So I would just systematically start to decrease my calories. So for example, like I said, I would eat similarly every day anyway. So what I would do in order to decrease my calories without feeling like I'm eating less, A, and B, without needing to track it, is that, for example, when I would have my oatmeal, right, in the morning, I'd have oatmeal every single morning. I would add peanut butter and berries and dark chocolate chips in there. However, what I would do is I would just scale back the amount of each of those ingredients that I'd put into my oatmeal. So for example, I would start with doing like a third of a cup of oats, and I slowly would just kind of do a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, than a third of a cup of oats, like from week to week. And also, like, instead of doing a full teaspoon of peanut butter, I would start to do like a 3/4 teaspoon of peanut butter, then eventually half a teaspoon of peanut butter. Instead of putting in like 5 strawberries in my oatmeal, I would do like 2 or 3 strawberries in my oatmeal. All those little things, so I really wouldn't feel like I'm eating any less. I'm still eating my normal breakfast, but the portions were just kind of scaled down without me fully even realizing it, if that makes sense. But that's why it's kind of crucial to be eating similarly from day to day, so that you can have some sort of something to base it off of saying, okay, now I am eating less than what I was eating. And going along with that, in order for me to drop my calories and to know kind of how much, I would pay so close attention to my hunger cues, you guys. Like, it was so important to just kind of get in tune with myself. I would eat slowly, so I was able to kind of allow my body to have time to register the food that I was eating and receive the signal of my hunger cues, you know? But basically, I would just wouldn't eat until I was like, oh my gosh, I'm stuffed. I would just eat until satiation, and that in turn was having me eat less. So the second thing is to increase your daily steps, you guys. This is something that I just like last summer recently discovered. Actually, honestly, when I was in Spain studying abroad, that's when I discovered how powerful walking is and just like increasing your daily movement. So basically what I did is I worked my way up to hitting about 10,000 steps a day was my goal. Usually if I go from anywhere between like a 35-minute and a 45-minute walk during my day, that plus just my movement throughout the day, I'm able to hit 10,000 steps pretty easily. And the reason why this is so beneficial is because it actually burns calories without you even realizing it. And since it's so low intensity and low stress on the body, it doesn't really require any time to recover from. Walking also is like one of the only forms of activity that simultaneously de-stresses the body, which is really helpful with lowering your cortisol levels, which, if you don't know, cortisol is a fat storing hormone. So the more that's under control, the more that's lowered, the easier it is for you to lose weight, which is awesome, is what we want. Similarly to when it comes to dropping your calories, it's like the same thing of how you want to systematically increase your daily steps. What's really important with weight loss is your strategy behind it. You don't just want to go from 0 to dropping your calories by 500 and putting the full throttle on cardio and maximizing your daily steps, because there comes to a point where your body and metabolism adapts and that current protocol becomes normal for your body, because our bodies are amazing machines, and it becomes easy for the body that it gets to a point where it's like, I don't need to drop any body fat. I know how to do this while fully keeping in my homeostasis, in my normal state that I want to stay in. So that's why it's important to do everything slowly so that you can still initiate and provoke change within the body. You'll do it a little bit, it'll adapt, but now you have still room to keep changing and causing a stimulus on the body to make it continue to change, or else it will just plateau. I hope that made sense. The third thing is water intake. This is so underestimated by people, or they know that it's important, but for some reason it's like so hard for them to stick to. Dude, get a cute water bottle or a fun water bottle to drink out of that you really like, that you want to carry around. I promise it will help you drink water. I personally really like hydro flasks or like a mason jar with a straw. I love it. When I just have a nice cute water bottle, it makes me want to keep drinking water, and something that's easy for me to drink out of. You know what I mean? I would recommend aiming anywhere between like 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon of water a day. At the very least, you should be consuming half a gallon of water a day. Now, the reason why this is so important is because a lot of the times we mistake hunger for dehydration. So the more hydrated you are, the more satiated you feel. It also makes your stomach just feel fuller, and it just allows me to decipher between like if I'm actually hungry or if I'm thirsty or if I'm bored, etc. I also find that when I'm properly hydrated, I don't have as many cravings. I don't feel as snacky. That's like a really, really big one. I just feel more satiated. And when I'm dehydrated, I find myself constantly wanting to keep pick, like with snacking with things. What I would do is like a systematic goal, a process goal, and that was to drink a glass of water before every meal and after every single meal. This worked wonders for me. It was amazing, because I don't know about you, when I'm hungry, my mind is clouded, my thoughts are clouded, my rationale is clouded. When I would drink a glass of water before I would go to eat something, I would just feel more satiated before I even went into my meal. So I felt like I had more control over my hunger. And it also just helped me when it came to finding when I'm full. That glass of water beforehand just helped me be more mindful of when I was full. And then the glass of water after the fact kind of helped me to cleanse my palate. You know, when after you eat, you're like, I still got to pick at something? Washing a glass of water down just helped me not feel that need to like wanting to pick or snack on food after. My fourth tip is to prioritize freaking protein. Now, I don't know, I feel like girls specifically, not to make stereotypes or assumptions, but I feel like girls specifically are kind of, they don't want to eat too much protein because they think it's going to make them put on too much muscle. If you're consuming high amount of protein, I wish that was the case and it gave you muscles, okay? I wish that was the case, let me tell you. But no, that's not how it works. Just because you're consuming more protein doesn't mean that you're going to miraculously build more lean muscle mass. What it will help you do is to preserve the lean muscle mass that you already have, which this is important because the more lean muscle mass you have on the body, the more calories that your body burns at rest, and therefore the easier it is for you to lose weight because you don't need to be eating as low of calories. So that's really important. Also, having more lean muscle mass on your body gives your body more shape and helps keep that like toned muscular figure. And the biggest reason why protein is important is because it is the most satiating of the macronutrients between carbs, protein, and fat. So it'll keep you fuller for longer. It just takes longer for your body to work through and to digest. Keeping that satiation factor is really, really important to prevent you from overeating, having these urges to snack, and having all these crazy cravings. So you might be wondering like, okay, like what is the optimal amount of protein I should be taking? Now, I understand you don't want to track, but a rule of thumb to give you like some sort of perspective is you should be eating anywhere like 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per body pound that you weigh. This is gonna vary depending on how much muscle mass you currently have on your body, how big you are, how active you are, etc. My fifth tip is to get in your fiber. So you might be like, yo, what the heck is fiber? Fiber is in a lot of fruits and vegetables, also a lot of complex carbohydrates, and this is beneficial because similar to protein, it's a very satiating nutrient. I don't know what to call it. It makes you feel fuller for longer. It takes longer for it to work through your digestion, similar to protein. Also, when you have an adequate amount of fiber in your diet, it really, really helps with digestion and gut health, which also plays a role when it comes to dropping body fat. Number 6 is to increase the volume of your foods. Now, there are some foods that are high volume, meaning they take up a lot of room, they take up a lot of space, however, they're very low calorie. A really good example of this, a classic example, is vegetables. They're really, really low calorie, but they take up a lot of space on your plate, so you feel like you're eating a lot, it looks like you're eating a lot. I recommend doing this by adding more vegetables. It'll again make you feel more satiated, make you feel fuller, and make you feel like you're eating more, and you won't realize psychologically that you're eating less calories. Kind of a twist that I have on this is to also literally like the way you prep your foods, like literally increase the volume of them. And like an example I have of this is like I personally like hard-boiled eggs, but when I was really in the heat of like cutting and trying to lose weight, I would kind of stop eating them in that format and started having them more in a scrambled form or an omelet form, just because again, it looked bigger on my plate, it took me longer to eat, and it just had more volume to it, so it made me feel like I was eating more food. My 7th tip is sleep and stress management. This I feel like is the most underrated tip when it comes to weight loss. For me, I'll tell you right now, because I had been trying to lose weight for like a year to like 18 months before I actually had started to see results, and this was a huge thing that I was neglecting. Like I said near the beginning of the video, when you're stressed out, that raises your cortisol levels, and cortisol is a fat storing hormone. So the higher your cortisol levels are, the more prone you are to store body fat. And if we're trying to lose weight, we obviously wanted to keep those cortisol levels under control. The reason why sleep and stress management is important is because it's what enables your body to lower those cortisol levels. So my biggest tip is to get in 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. I was on this like a bee on honey this past summer, and I just kept dropping body fat, and I truly think it's because my body was in such a relaxed state. And also, when you get in enough sleep, sleep is when your body has the time to repair, respond to the stimulus that you've been putting on it, and just has the chance to react to what's going on. So like, please don't underestimate sleep and just stress management in general. You want to give your body time to relax, to recoup, and to react to the stimulus that you've been putting on your body. I'm passionate about this one because I swear this is something that like changed the game. So number 8, it's not really like a specific tip, but I did want to touch base on cardio, because a lot of people think, what cardio do I need to do to lose weight? What cardio is best for burning fat? It's kind of, I would never be like, do this form of cardio because it's fat burning cardio. I think everyone responds to different types of cardio depending on your own individual body type. So what I will say is to just don't overdo it with cardio, similar to what I said with dropping your calories and increasing your steps, because again, you want to make sure you have room to progress with your stimulus to keep inching your body along with progress and preventing it from plateauing really, really early on in the fat loss process. Cardio is a tool to help you further create a caloric deficit to help you continue on this progression of fat loss. So I personally would add this in after you have been dropping your calories, after you have been increasing your daily steps, and you kind of are starting to hit a plateau and you don't really want to decrease your calories anymore, you don't really have time to go for an hour-and-a-half walk every day, then I would recommend starting to add in some different forms of cardio that you enjoy to help burn a little bit extra calories and further create that deficit. All right, that was a lot. I feel like I always talk fast during these videos, but I just get like passionate about it and I get into it, and I don't want it to be too boring. I just want to give you guys information. But if you have any other questions, comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you, or you can DM me on Instagram. I really hope this video helped. If it did, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps on my videos and my channel. Also, if you'd consider subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. I'd love to have you along. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.